been quite a while, hasn't it? Well, hey everyone, and it's Codex here, and it's been like quite some time since I've actually talked to you guys about something, and like I think it's been about like 2 weeks or something to like that extent. But yeah, I just wanted to like get something, like I wanted to like, I've had a bunch of ideas, but I've never had time to actually film anything, so I'm here now. And actually, this is the very beginning of a series that's gonna be a bit hard to talk about just in general. That's why I'm calling it the unpopular opinion, because it's like my perspective on things, and the reason why I'm calling it that is because more than likely not very many people are going to agree, so that's why I called it that. So today's topic is going to be fandoms and fan bases. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what those are. So fandoms are essentially fan bases, but it just speaks about it in general. So fan bases can come from many things, and that's what's actually really interesting about them. Fandoms and fan bases come from like literally like everywhere on the web, from people you meet. It could be like groups of people, like mass collectives of people, or it could just be a few people. I mean, some people could just stand out as purely wholehearted fans for certain things. So like what I was just saying is that it's really interesting how like fan bases are and how fandoms can be. They can come from many areas. Like, I know for a fact, since this channel started, I got all this confidence from starting this channel on Tumblr. Now, the thing about Tumblr though is that like people don't really like. Okay, yeah, it's not really the most trustworthy idea of like, you know, meeting people, but I've gotten responses for certain things that it's pretty substantial. I know for a fact the Ruby or the RWBY fan base is very strong on there. Now, the only thing about Tumblr is that like everyone doubts Tumblr, and I completely understand that. But honestly, since I've been like, ever since I started mine, like it's just pretty amazing to see like the interaction, even though it's not really like too much. Like, even though people just like and reblog things, I still think it's like very amazing to see like, you know, people reblog and even like things that I post. So I think that's pretty cool about it. And then another one is Facebook fan pages. That's another one. And like, I actually run 2 Facebook fan pages for characters that I like. And the thing that's cool is that like people do actually notice these things. So like, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna run a fan page for a character that I think is really cool, and then maybe people will follow it, and then there you go. And then one of the like most like raw ways of meeting someone of a fandom or a fan base is just meeting them in person. It's like, oh, do you like this? And then if they do, then they do, and that's that. So I know like it's kind of weird because like I always knew fan base, but then like I had to search up the definition of fandom on the internet, because, you know, the way people describe fandom to me is like, well, you take the F in fandom and you replace it with a R, and it's like that's how a fandom can be towards whatever it is. So like how I was talking to you before, the Ruby fan base, well, if we're talking about the fandom, it's a completely different subject. I don't know if I'm getting it right completely, but that's all I can remember. And that's the thing that's kind of cool about them, is that they're communities. The fan bases are big, and it depends on what it is. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this today is that actually a few things that kind of concern me about them. So we all know that fandoms and fan bases can be extremely strong. Like, people will definitely express themselves for certain shows, certain animes. It's amazing, it's cool, I like it. Because people aren't afraid of being honest, and that's what I'm all about. So that's what I really like. But I'm here to talk about some things that I was kind of saddened by. And actually one of the very first ones is inconsistent or fluctuating fan bases. Now, probably one of my favorite animes as of now was AGK or Akame Ga Kill. Now, like, I remember when it first started to air, everyone was extremely excited about it. Like, the fandom energy was like way up there, and then once it started to get midway, like, the fandom started to like totally deny everything that the White Fox Studios was trying to do for the show. I mean, the reason why the fandom was fluctuating so much was because the anime didn't match the source content. And like, I know that's something I should probably be sensitive about, and you're probably thinking, oh, that's probably really stupid that you aren't being sensitive about it, but I think people should really learn to appreciate things for what they are. Because, like, Akame Ga Kill, like, was honestly really good, even though it was totally set apart from its main source content. And that's why I'm calling this the unpopular opinion, because I don't know if anyone agrees with me, because I actually finished it, and I actually really enjoyed it. So, you get my take on that. And that's like something that kind of makes me sad, like to see people kind of like go from like, oh, I love this so much, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, I hate it. Like, hate's a very strong word. And like, as I saw across many fan pages I follow on Facebook, it was like, oh, we should like kill the creators of Akame Ga Kill because they did it so wrong. Like, that shouldn't be something that people go towards, because it's going a little too far. And to get onto my next topic that comes after inconsistent and fluctuating fan bases is hate or flame wars. Now, like, I never really liked those in general. Like, it's really sad to see people just straight up hate a show just because, oh, they may have already seen it, but I still don't understand why people would hate, like completely hate something. Like, it doesn't help anyone, because it's just like throwing negative energy, and then it creates more negative energy, and then nothing gets solved, and then there's all this hate, and then people are like backfiring at each other, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help the fan base, it doesn't help the community, and no one gets helped in the end. So, one of the very first ones I'm going to talk about, it's a little subtle, is actually in part with Nisekoi, and like, I know this is probably something that most people would be like, oh, why are you so sensitive to that? Is actually, there's this thing that always goes on, like, if it's a harem anime, there's always going to be teams, so it's like, oh yeah, you should support your team with hashtag team, and then put the character, or the heroine, that's supposed to be shipped, or like a couple or a OTP, once you're pairing with the main character, the main male protagonist. So like, I remember I'd be scrolling through like most of the Nisekoi fan pages I follow, and then it'd just be like, people would totally like flame and totally like talk so bad about other people that support different teams, and I didn't like that because it was extremely negative and actually got a bit out of hand at times. So that's the only reason why I'm bringing that up. But you know, I still think supporting your favorite team, if you do that, I mean, not saying everyone does. A lot of people think it's weird, but I definitely do. I mean, Nisekoi, all Team Chitogi right here. So there you go. And then, okay, so this next one is probably going to be extremely hard to talk about, because once I bring this up, it's either going to be like, I'm gonna lose friends, or everyone's gonna rebel against me, I don't know, but I'm just gonna bring this up for the sake of being completely honest. But I do not like the fact that people really hate Sword Art Online. Like, I understand that people deem things generic, and like, you know, it's like, oh, like, this storyline, like, yeah, you get what I mean. Like, people totally trashed it. Like, I don't understand why people would even do that in the first place. Like how I was bringing up in the beginning of this topic. Like, negative energy doesn't do anything. Like, it won't help anyone. So, like, the idea is that, like, if you give negative energy and the person who you're giving it to doesn't respond, it just blows up back in the person's face. So, you know, it's like, I don't think doing things like that helps anyone. So, I mean, I like Soila Online, and, like, I mean, I finished it. I didn't get to the second season yet, but, you see, it's a thing of giving things a second chance, or giving them a chance. Now, that's the final thing that I'm going to talk about right now. So, there was there's like a Vocaloid song series. It was called the Kagero City Projects, and like it was like a bunch of songs based on a bunch of characters throughout the Vocaloid songs, and then it eventually got so popular that they actually decided to make an adaptation into an anime, and that was called Mekaku City Actors. Now, the thing. Now remember, I'm not a critic, so my opinion obviously isn't valid against the critics, but it just depends if you can understand where I'm coming from. It doesn't matter if you hate it or not, I just need to make sure you understand it. Now, a lot of people did not like Mekaku City Actors. They thought it was like terrible, and they're like, oh, someone should, like, the studio should like completely, or some other studio should completely remake it, and that really like touched me, because I was like, oh, I feel so bad for the studio because they put in all this work. Just like how I was talking about Akame Ga Kill, it was like, dude, they're like totally like pointing fingers at White Fox Studios. Like, they tried all they could, guys. Like, why can't you just appreciate it for what it is? And oh yeah, camera just cut off. So, like, it's why can't people just appreciate shows for what they are? I mean, it's really simple. Just, you know, accept it for what it is. I mean, it seems to some people it's really hard, but I can understand that. I mean, the sensitivity for high expectations is out there. I'm not putting anyone down for that, I'm just saying. Because the way that I tend to view anime is that, like, I don't go by any form of numerical rating system. I do use my anime list, but on that domain, if you scroll through everything that I plan to watch, have watched, I have not dropped one single anime. I'm almost going to be over 100. I know it's like a little in comparison to a lot of people I know, but I haven't dropped one. I haven't dropped one single show. And I feel like it's the way I view things that's really helped me. Now, I'm not saying that you should view it that way. I just think that the idea of giving a chance, or a second chance even, will help you. Because if you try to push away all these things that you expect from it, like, more than likely you're actually going to enjoy the show a lot better, because you aren't like, oh, I expect it to be like, you know, right on the mark with everything, like all the source content. Like, I for one haven't read any manga in relation to any of the anime that I've watched, and like, I know that's gonna sound like really stupid to some people, because it's like, now you don't really know what it's really like, but honestly it's helped me like love so many shows. Like, I practically loved every anime that I've watched, and that's like 97 of them? Something like that. But you see what I mean? Like, giving a chance shouldn't be so hard. And I hope you guys are understanding what I'm coming from with this unpopular opinion sort of idea. So, it seems to me that I've gone through everything that I wanted to talk about. I think that's about it. Yeah. My hair is getting like super long. Yeah, it is. Well, thank you guys for watching this, and I hope you understood it. That's all I'm asking for. You don't have to necessarily follow the way that I view things, but I hope that at least help you. Like, maybe pushing this perspective, like, giving this sort of perspective a chance even, could help you enjoy shows better if you did so. So that's all I wanted to leave off with. Not saying that he has to completely follow it all, but that's it. And thank you guys for watching.